It's like one of your catchphrases.
I don't say it because it's one of my favorite movies. I say it because it's something that my dad always used to say when I was growing up. My dad would also say things like hotter than a $2 pistol.
Do $2 pistols overheat very much?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if a $2 pistol would not be something.
You can buy $2. There's actually such things as a pistol for $2 that you can like shoot someone.
I don't.
Or is it like a BB gun?
I don't know, but I mean, it's just a figure of speech, implying that the quality of the product would lead to less than ideal operating conditions.
What else did your dad say, Ben? Is there any other phrases he'd like to impart his wisdom to us?
We would play blackjack, and every time that he would bust, he would say, "Busted flat in Little Rock," which is
Arkansas?
Yeah, this is the opening line to a Dolly Parton song, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. It's really interesting. It's always so weird because it's like
in Little Rock, waiting for.
It's always interesting to
Is
see.
it Janis Joplin that makes that song?
I feel like that in itself is just a big history lesson, though. Because like it's like that. Those three phrases in itself. You learn about the South, you learn about a different time period, and you learn about guns. So.
Yep.
All right. With that, we're gonna go into our game, guys. Game number 2 between Demuslim versus Finale. You had a history lesson. It's now time to have a Protoss versus Terran lesson with Finale and Demuslim. This map is Demuslim's choice. And it's really interesting because this map is kind of hard for Protoss to get that third base and secure it if Terran is able to drop everywhere. But at the same time, if you play your cards right, similar to kind of like Metropolis, you can kind of defend all 3 points. Granted, though, it is very easy to establish 3 base for Terran as well. And it's very hard to kind of blink in, to kind of harass. It's really tough to kind of do a lot of pokes in because you can get nice concaves. I like this map choice from Demuslim.
Yeah, me too. Me too. My dad said lots of funny stuff.
Are you still thinking about that, Ben?
My favorite saying from my father is "more pissed off than a midget with a yo-yo," which just makes me crack up every time I.
It's in the StarCraft 2 quote of the day thing too.
Yeah, the context of a little short person trying to yo-yo.
Why would he even buy a yo-yo?
Maybe it was given.
It's
to
like
him.
it's like he wouldn't like a midget wouldn't also buy a really tall shelf. It's just those things are just setting yourself for failure.
Yep. Indeed. SCV of Demuslim getting a nice scout of Finale's base. Oh, man.
Oh, man. Demuslim is getting a good scout off of Finale, just like you said. It's really important, actually, that Demuslim denied information to Finale, but Finale still managed to see the command center. That removes a big possibility of builds. A wide array could include Hellion drops, 1-1-1. Of course, we know Demuslim doesn't necessarily like playing that kind of style. He is a macro Terran. It's just removing those possibilities gives Finale a lot of comfort into just dropping this Nexus.
Yes. And we are going to see, again, passivity from both of these guys. I don't know if it will work out in Demuslim's favor this time, but I want to say that it should, because Entombed Valley is generally just a safer map for doing that kind of a thing. Admittedly, it wasn't that Finale was exploiting Metropolis, though. It was just that Finale's extra greed paid off in a way that Demuslim wasn't able to account for.
Yep, Demuslim going to play this, again, very standard. I really like the one Tech Lab build. I use it a lot in my Terran versus Protoss plays. And it just gives you more gas flexibility as well. You don't necessarily have to squeeze out Marauders, but because you get early Marauders, you can still poke at the same time if you feel like your opponent's playing super greedy. Demuslim, he needs to scout a little bit more, and that's something that we saw last game. He needs to be more on top of what Protoss does. One of the toughest things to do as a Terran player is to sense when to scan Protoss. It's kind of a hard thing to describe. Sometimes you have set timings, like maybe around 8 minutes, because if you see a robo, then you know he's teching. If you don't see a robo, you assume he's pressuring. Those kinds of things help you, but it's very sixth sense, and that's what separates like the good Terrans from the best. And I feel like Demuslim has to kind of do a little bit more of that, because last time he got caught off guard with the 3 Nexus build.
He is attacking up a little bit faster this time, but really everything else is basically the same. He's sitting behind these 2 bunkers. No third command center yet, but I think we're probably going to see the eBay going down relatively soon, the +1 coming down relatively soon. I guess Demuslim just feels like he's the stronger player here. He's gonna follow this tech path. He's gonna follow through with this build, and it's gonna work because he's confident. There's that eBay like we were talking about.
Yeah, and Demuslim also pretty much doing everything pretty nicely, getting a second bunker just for safety. Very, very standard, especially on a map like Entombed Valley. Wide ramp, very dangerous for a huge busts. We see an early Robo Twilight Forge combination again for Finale, except no third Nexus this time in combination. What is he going to go for? Blink armor or charge weapons?
It's funny because Finale's build looks identical as well. It's just he kind of left out the important detail of that that very fast third base. So he's not going to have the same kind of income. He's not going to have the same kind of production capabilities as he had on Metropolis. And I think if you cut out the third base and you just look at sort of the things that the players did outside of that, it puts Demuslim in a much more comfortable spot. I mean, he's following the exact same path, and I think this time it's going to work better.
Yep, considering that Finale shouldn't have that big of a macro advantage. Nice pick up on the Stalker as well, just to reduce the vision of Finale. You can't kind of poke and see a third base, if any. Now this is interesting because Finale is getting weapons and Blake. Usually you get the armor, of course, to in synchronization so that you can be defensive, but a weapons always usually indicates that Protoss would like to go out to the middle of the map. I'm really curious.
What are you thinking, Finale?
He's actually adding more gateways at the same time, too.
6 gate, Blink, and a couple of Immortals. So I guess we're going to see maybe a big, huge 2-base or not as he starts to work on these rocks. Yeah, I don't know what to think of this.
Well, I mean, some players back in the day like to go for a Robotics Bay and push with Blink Stalkers and 6 gates and go for it. It was a very big Startail build. Everyone credited to Squirtle, but Parting did it a lot at the same time. Finale gonna drop this third base, but this is a perfect time for Demuslim to strike because this is where Finale has to cover the most ground. Demuslim can win on 3 different fronts if he's able to, especially since he has a factory. Also trying to scout his opponent's composition. Stims 1 Marine. He has to be kind of cautious, though, because he doesn't want to get caught by force fields.
He's a little bit early. +1 not quite ready. Combat shield's not quite ready, but this is still a very scary Terran army. Demuslim knows it.
Nice.
And he's just going to split it up.
Very nice.
And force Finale to make a decision here, and that decision is inevitably going to be cancel that third base.
That was an awesome move because he knows if Finale tries to run past, he's going to take a lot of damage, has to confront. Marine's able to get a free snipe, and he even got the factory in without contest, so he sees almost all the tech of Protoss. Demuslim made all the right moves that time.
And now Finale's basically at a crossroads. He doesn't have any other choices. We are going to see big warpins. Robotics Bay is going to go down. He's going to try to get some Colossi out. Great defensive force fields there from Finale.
Yeah, Colossus is definitely the right answer when you see this many bio units. You need immediately a way to deal with it. A lot of force fields have been burned. Demuslim trying to run up with some of the units who got a little bit overeager. But I think Demuslim's in a nice spot. His third is also finished, so now he can get this macro advantage and continue to pump out units, especially since he doesn't see the Robotics Bay. He needs to start getting Viking production out. As soon as you see it, you need to slam on the production of Medivacs.
Yeah, it's, I mean, if, still, though, Demuslim's position's so nice, Dan.
Yes.
He's got so many units, he's got so much income right now, and he enjoys this sort of just tactical advantage. He's got all the map control. Finale can't walk out of his base right now, and it's looking more and more like we're just going to have one final all-in push from Finale. It's going to determine whether or not he's able to take this game.
Well, Finale also harassing a little bit. That's what you need to do. Maybe even kill off the supply depot. Some Marines rushing to the scene in order to stop that harassment. Finale also has shown his Colossus now that Demuslim did scan, so Demuslim knows to start pumping them out as soon as possible, but I love it. Demuslim usually always on top of his macro. 9 barracks already in preparation and already leaning over towards Marauder production. Everything is looking good, while Finale also getting very critical upgrades. From here, Demuslim also has a few options to keep pressuring Protoss third and denying it while trying to drop, and I feel like all the initiative belongs to Demuslim. And Ben, I think he's in a great spot.
Yeah, I totally agree. Finale's taking a very very late third base, and that's going to allow so much flexibility in Demuslim's play. Demuslim could just max out and go for the big engagement. He could continue trying to spread Finale out with drops. This factory, by the way, is still just sort of floating in Finale's main base. I think he's just kind of accepted it as a landmark over the great city of bottom left Expandia.
You and naming things, Ben. You name your cat Kitty, you name Crocky, Crocodile Crocky, and you name Finale's base boss, bottom left Expandia.
Yes.
We see a little bit of preparation for harassment again from Finale, setting up an incredible amount of pylons on the right side. That's what you need to do, especially as Terran gets a little bit careless usually as the game progresses, and they usually float bases without checking for pylons. Finale does start transitioning towards Templars as well, getting double AoE, and Finale still has to play very passive. He's doing the right things. A lot of Protoss players may feel like they have to meet Terran in the middle, get some force fields, be a little bit more aggressive with their defense, but in this scenario, he can't really do anything.
Comes a huge Demuslim push, 180 Terran supplies, and a kill a Stalker just immediately. One thing that is okay for Finale, this big focus on Zealot Templar could translate to just the right amount of damage output. We're going to have to wait and see. Marauders are in front. Demuslim wants that perfect engagement.
Well, he does pick a spot onto the ramp. The Colossus is pretty well protected by the Archons, although Demuslim has so much stuff, it doesn't even matter. Look at the power of 9 barracks, and Demuslim able to crush it. He's chasing the army. The Colossus is going to drop in just seconds, and with that, Demuslim can just easily stem to win. GG. Demuslim ties it up 1-1.
Demuslim firing his lasers. Oh my god, that Protoss army just melted, just dissolved. Yeah. There was an army there, and then there wasn't.
It was great patience too, because a lot of Terrans, they feel like in the open area is a great place to engage, and they stem. But Demuslim really scouted the army composition for a long time. Like, I'm not going to attack until I know how many Colossus you have. Do you have Storm? Like, do you have anything really? And then by the time he engaged, he knew he had everything right.
Last game brought to you guys by Azo Monitors, the world's leading gaming and production monitor company. Head over to azo.com/NA where you can find more info and pick up your own Azo monitors today. We're going to take a short break. Game number 3, the rubber match. Demuslim versus Finale. That happens after I don't flick my pin.